Hey friends, welcome to the Strangers in Common podcast. I hope this finds you well, but if you're not well, that's okay. I'm always here for you. We'll keep our intro short and sweet, so thank you guys for joining us with this fun little chat. Let's go ahead and get to know somebody that you don't. And today, that person is Amanda. Yep, there it is. All right, Amanda, thank you so much for joining me on this. So we'll go ahead and just jump right into it and start whatever journey you want for your life.
That's a big statement. Like,
Yeah, I know. Well, so what was it? Where'd you grow up at? Let's start there.
Colorado. So I grew up
Was it?
in Colorado Springs.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Oh, you're so exciting.
No, it's not. I don't. It's like I've been down there a couple times, but I've heard it's not fantastic.
I mean, it's not terrible. I would say, as an adult, it's great. There's tons of outdoor things to do. There's lots of bars and restaurants and things like that. But for like a kid growing up, especially teenage years, there's nothing to do, and the malls were slowly starting to die, and now they really are dead. So it's
Right. Well, it
you know
wasn't. It still wasn't as big as Denver, right? So it was
no.
quite a bit smaller.
It is. So the weird thing about the Springs is that like it's not a big town. It's just really spread out. And
Oh,
like
okay.
even going back as an adult, like it's gotten bigger, but it hasn't gotten better.
Right.
So
Right.
it's
That's what I've always heard too. So
yeah.
it's but it's also it's Air Force Base down there, right?
Oh, there's a bunch of Air Force. There's like 3 Air Force bases and some Army bases. Like it's very
So it's a
heavily
it's a
military.
military city more than anything.
Yeah, 100%.
So
That
what
and
was
like
it like?
religious.
Okay, that's fair because I know there's like the family first thing down there and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
focus
So
on the family. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Yep, that was the one.
Yeah.
As you drive into
Well,
Colorado Springs, it's a big
it's a
building you
big
can't
thing right
miss.
there. Yep.
Yeah. So what was it like growing up down there?
I actually had a pretty cool childhood for the most part. Like, I would say, so like elementary school was really cool because I actually lived just down the street from school. So I could
Okay.
like walk up to go to school, and we would always walk down to Walgreens, and we had a really good group of kids in the neighborhood. So we always got to play in the street and like kick the can, and it was nice to have that kind of built-in community for a couple of years.
Oh,
And
nice.
then my parents got divorced, and then so we were moving probably like every couple of years after
Oh,
that,
okay.
which for a military kid is not a big deal. You're kind of used to that. So,
Okay.
but it
Which
was
parent
cool
was in the
because
military?
my dad,
Okay.
yeah, he was in the army for like 20
Gotcha.
something years.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
where all did you move? Was it mainly in state or was it all over the country?
It was mostly in state. So I was born in Germany, and
Oh,
then we moved to Texas, I think, for a little bit, and then Oklahoma when I was like 2, and then moved to Colorado. We started in up in Westminster, up in Denver, and then moved down to the Springs.
okay.
So yeah, so most of the moving for me was that I remember at least was all through just Colorado Springs.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So now I'm gonna jump around a little bit real quick, but I
yeah,
know
go for it.
your son was he, and you guys are in Japan right now.
Yeah,
Was he
yeah,
born in Japan?
he was. So he was made in Hawaii, and he was born in Japan. So he's a little international baby.
So now the question I got because you said you were born in Germany, he was born in
Mhm.
Japan. Were you guys were you both born on military bases?
Yes, yeah. So we
Okay.
don't. Both me and my son don't technically have birth certificates. We have
Oh,
reports of birth abroad.
wow. So
Yeah.
because I was talking with my wife earlier, and she asked, so does that make you guys? Were you born? Does it list you were born in the U.S. or does it list you were born in Germany and Japan?
So it'll list that we were born in Germany and Japan, but um, we're not like dual citizenship. So like I could
Right.
have been if I had applied for it, but Japan is very strict on that. That we had
Okay.
to like immediately go to the embassy and be like, my child is an American citizen.
Right.
Yeah, it's a whole thing because they're like, he's not Japanese. So
Right.
yeah,
Oh
but it's, I
man.
mean, you're technically born on American soil because you're on, a U.S. base, but it's still
Right.
foreign land. It's weird. It's a very
Yeah,
confusing
that's
process.
that's what I was telling her. And she's like, "That doesn't sound right." I'm like, "Well, I'll ask." So
Yeah, that's fair.
I asked. um, so did you run into any? I guess not issues, but was it difficult moving around that much? It was not a lot of stability, I guess.
So,
Or,
weirdly, no. I think just because I was so used to it that
okay,
it just wasn't a thing, and it was all within the same city for most of what I remember.
gotcha.
So I think I got lucky there because most military kids, it's every 2 to 3 years in a completely different state. So
Right.
I got very lucky that because my parents divorced when I was so young, I was like 11 or 12, that I
Okay.
got to spend most of my formative years in the same state, going to the same school with the same friend group.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it
Well,
was just
that's
different houses.
right. That's definitely helpful.
Yeah.
So I know your husband's in the military. So
Hmm.
did having a military dad make you kind of veer that way towards finding someone in the military?
Absolutely not. It
No.
made me want to go the opposite. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Because so Army uses and abuses their people, just like Navy
Right.
does. Like they're really
Right.
hard on their people. And I never wanted to date a military guy. It just, I, not that I have anything against them necessarily, you
Right.
know, but like that just was not the lifestyle for me. But my husband and okay, so we kind of have a long history. We
Okay.
actually were in the same fifth grade homeroom class together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then we met back up years later, like after high school. He was dating one of my best friends at the time. And threw her birthday party at his house and then shortly broke up with her to date me. We dated
Well,
for a
fun.
few months. And then years later, like we started dating again and then we ended up getting married. So
Nice.
yeah, it's wild, right?
Yeah, that's quite a bit of history too.
A little bit. Yeah.
So, so where else have you guys only lived here, Hawaii and Japan, or you guys have been other places?
So he was stationed in Korea the first year of our marriage, and
Okay,
then we moved to Hawaii together, and then we moved to Japan. So we've only been
gotcha.
to two bases together.
So, is it a huge culture shock over there
I think for most people it probably is, but Chris and
for you?
I
It's not.
were so excited about it that yeah, we were just like, it's a new adventure. We
Right.
love Japanese culture and food and anime and like there's tons of anime and like stuff that we love over here. So I think we're
Oh,
just
that's
so
what I've heard.
excited that it's, yeah. It is a geek stream over here. It's amazing.
I can imagine. I'll get there someday. But
Yeah, if you get the
what's
chance, it's gorgeous.
what's the weirdest food you've encountered over there?
Um, oof. That okay, so that's tough because I don't know what the signs actually say. So I just point
Oh,
at things and I'm like, yeah, sure, let's try it. I don't know what it is. It's a meat of some sort.
oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you gotta try different and so far everything's been good. I mean,
Well, that's a
it's
plus because man, I don't know if I could do that.
yeah. There are some things that look very questionable and I'm like, I don't know about this. But okay, so I think the weirdest thing has probably been Domino's pizza. So there's
What?
Domino's out here. Yeah, there's Domino's. Then
Okay.
there's KFC and McDonald's, like
Right.
not like the American version though. So like we just got these pizzas for game night the other night, and I have no idea what's on them. They're like four different flavors of pizza, and I
Okay.
don't know what that meat is, and I don't know what the cream is on top, and like weird veggies, but it all kind of tasted good, kind of.
Huh.
I don't know. It was weird.
Huh.
It was
You,
yeah.
You are way braver than I am.
I mean,
Seriously.
you're out here, like you gotta try it, at least once.
I I guess, but man, I don't know. I'm not that brave to try something I don't know what the meat is and just being like, all right, let's do it.
There are there has been one, so there's only been one thing so far that like kind of made me not have such a good time. It was we went to Genki Sushi. So it's like the little sushi that comes out on trains and you
Okay.
order off iPads, which has been great. Um but I think it was like shredded tuna, or it was some sort of shredded fish,
Ooh.
but the consistency was like cat food and I couldn't get past it. It was just
Yeah.
not for me.
Yeah, that'd be a little rough.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite thing that you found out there?
Probably the ramen so far. Like
The
the
ramen?
ramen, the broths are just really good. And there's so many things that you can add to it. Yeah, honestly, probably the ramen. We haven't explored too much of the food, but I want to more. We've mostly done like little. So you go to like food courts, and they have like a
Uh-huh.
whole bunch of different options there, and most of them are local, so you have no idea what you're really ordering. But we've mostly stuck to places like that, and then we'll go to like McDonald's or something and like
Right.
try one of their random burgers that they have, because things change over here every couple of months, like with the seasons.
Okay.
You get all sorts of new flavors and snacks and things like that, so you don't always get the same stuff all year round.
Wow. That's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
cool. Yeah.
So are you guys gonna be out there for a while? Or
So we're
do you
supposed to
know?
be. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off
you're good.
there.
Good.
We're supposed to be out here for 3 years. So at the
Okay.
end of that, we can either try to extend and see if we can't tack on another year, or he can try to apply for another job out here and see if he can get it.
Okay.
Or the military will just tell us where to go next. So it kind of all just depends.
Gotcha. Are you guys wanting to stay out there, or are you guys, since you're adventurous, just you're kind of like, nah, whatever happens?
I think right now we both kind of really want to stay here.
Yeah.
Just it's so safe here, and so especially with having a child, getting him into
This,
school and things like that, and just even just taking him around the country, like we feel so secure. And there's also just so much here to explore.
right. So when you say you feel safe, just is it? I guess it doesn't feel as threatening as back here.
In a way, I wouldn't say threatening per se, but just with the amount of like school shootings and violence and
Right.
things like that. But also just generally, like you know how like 16th Street can be a little sketchy
Right.
at some points. There's nowhere here that I have felt that at all.
Really.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, mind you, there are still parts of it. Like, there's absolutely still parts of
Right.
Japan. But, like, the violence and, like, the crime rate here is so low.
Okay.
Like, and you'll see children boarding the trains by themselves, taking the buses by themselves.
Oh
Because it's
wow.
like society really keeps an eye out for them and, like, helps out with them. Versus, like,
Oh
in
okay.
America, it's kind of you're all on your own, you know?
Right. Have fun.
Yeah.
We'll see, yeah. We'll see if we see you later. Who knows?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Can you imagine like sending your like 4-year-old child just to walk to school by themselves? Like, all right, bye. Get on the bus.
To be honest, no. And like, all my girls are growing, my youngest
Yeah.
will be 18 soon. And like with everything going on out here, no, I can't even imagine it. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
imagine our grandson going to school with the shit that goes on out here.
Yep.
So it's like, having a 6 month old, I
Yeah.
definitely understand having to make a choice on, hey, do we stay here? Do we go back? Like,
Yeah. It's honestly it's a constant battle because I do constantly think about the safety of my child and him growing up in schools and things like that and even just going out and about. But at the same time, I also miss being close to my friends and family and
right.
having that bond and having his grandparents nearby and knowing his cousins and things like that. Like it's a constant battle.
I'm sure. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about maybe moving your family out there?
I mean,
You're like, nah.
I love them, but it would be hard because my mom has a job, that she loves
Right,
and she works remote. Her husband is in bands or is in a band and he loves doing shows all the time and there's just so many different things. Like everyone has their own life that I
right.
wouldn't want to bring them out here, especially cuz we live on base and we're in
Oh,
like a
that's
little
fair.
apartment, so we only have so much
Right.
space.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. Plus the military pays for us to move, but they wouldn't pay for them to move.
Well,
So
yeah,
the
exactly.
expenses would be on them. So it'd be a
Be like,
lot.
well, it'll be a couple grand. Just come out. It's okay.
It's fine. You can afford that, right?
Right.
Oof.
So, was Hawaii very different from the stateside and Japan both? Was it a different feel out there?
So it was. So the nice thing about living in Hawaii, especially during COVID and all the insanity of 2020, is that we're a little bit removed from all of that.
Right.
So you weren't feeling the same things as everyone in the States was. Like you weren't
Okay.
having all the riots and all the violence and all those kind of things. Now, don't get
Right.
me wrong, Hawaii definitely has their own things and their own crimes and all that kind of stuff. So it's it is paradise, but it's also not.
Right.
like
That's what I've
it's
heard.
yeah, it's you definitely, especially living on Oahu, which is the the main tourist island. It's where Honolulu and Waikiki and all that kind of stuff is. That's where
Okay.
everyone goes. So while the local economy does really rely on the tourism industry, there's also so many people there that do not want tourists to come in and do not like the military. So you had to be very
Oh,
cautious of how you talked and did things there and make sure you lock your car and don't advertise
right.
that you're military or try not to really show that you're a tourist and kind of things like that. So
Was there like threats against tourists and military? Like, obviously not like outright, you know, huge ones, but was it kind of like an unspoken thing that?
yeah, it was very much an unspoken thing. But I mean, we also had a jet fuel spill that got into our water supply while we were there.
Oh,
And not only did that affect us, that also started to affect the island and so much of the island. And so, that only fueled the anger. I didn't mean to
right.
put that as a pun, but
It worked.
yeah, it was perfect. But that didn't help things at all. And it's because there's so much military there and they take up so much space of the island. There's only so much space on an island, and the people that
Right.
live there want that place for themselves and want to keep it as green and as Hawaiian as possible.
Yeah. And that's
So it's
understandable.
yeah,
And I mean, you don't hear about that stuff stateside, to be perfectly honest with you. Like,
right.
if you didn't tell me, I had no clue there was a jet fuel spill. Like,
Oh yeah,
they don't say that kind of stuff. I've seen on Twitter, that they don't want tourists going to Hawaii, obviously, because
right.
it's overran. It's
Yep,
depleting resources and stuff like that. But
yep,
other than that, if you're not looking for it, you're not going to hear about it.
right. And that
So,
was the thing. And what was worse about the jet fuel spill is that the Navy actually tried to cover it up. So
oh,
there was a long time of them being like, "No, it's fine. It's totally fine." It didn't get out. Even the base commander on Pearl Harbor was like, "Oh yeah, we drank the water and we're fine." And then a couple days later, everything came spilling out, and he was like, "I am so sorry." It's like, "Yeah, dude, this is affecting
oh man,
thousands of families." So we had to live off of bottled water and take bottled water showers and things like that for months. Like,
holy crap!
yeah. And I thankfully I wasn't pregnant at that time, but I got pregnant shortly after, and it was just
Right.
I can't even feel comfortable in my house washing my hands, cooking, doing anything because everything requires water. It's and I can't. I don't want to live off microwavable food because that's not healthy. It was the whole thing, and I felt so bad
Yeah.
for my dog too.
Well, yeah, because I mean, so it affected it. It went further than the base then.
Oh yeah. So it started out on the base, and like they would update the map with like the affected areas, and then
Uh,
eventually it got to be it expanded to like bigger parts of the island, so that not just the base was affected, but also like the locals were beginning to be affected. So I'm sure years from now we're gonna hear about lawsuits, of people's
right.
health. Like they're tracking it, but we don't know what the consequences are going to be of that jet fuel in the water.
That's crazy. Because like I said, it wasn't. It there was no stories on it here. I know
Nope.
that for a fact. I didn't see
Yeah.
nothing at all.
And
And of
I
course,
mean, I
if that
saw
was
it,
around, right?
but I was on
Yeah, I mean, you were in
Hawaii,
it.
like
Yeah,
pages. Yeah.
yeah, you were in it. But that was
Yeah.
that was what around 2020. So
So that
2021.
was probably the last year that we left. So I want to say that was 2022.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it got pushed, with all the COVID stuff, but no, that didn't.
No. No.
Wasn't the case.
No,
That's
it was a wild time because like my husband was in a different state because he had to travel for work, and then like it was pouring rain so bad that like everything was starting to flood, like cars were getting stuck in the streets, and then like the same night everything comes out about the water, and I was just like, why
oh,
is this all happening at once? It was,
you're like, oh my god, I want to leave.
yep, I was like, I'm done, get me off this island.
Oh man, I can't
I
even
will say
imagine.
I did love it there. Like it is absolutely gorgeous, and like when people go and they respect the island and like things like that, it is a beautiful, beautiful place. And there's so much hiking and the beaches and the fresh fish and the people, like the good people that you meet are so warm and
Yeah.
welcoming and amazing. Like we did really enjoy ourselves there. Like there
Oh,
was
I
a
saw
lot
your
of bad that happened, but
right. I saw
there's a
your
lot of good
pictures.
too.
I saw you meeting like random pigs and
Yeah.
going on hikes and
Yeah.
shit like that. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah. I never thought I'd meet a wild pig while out on a hike that was friendly towards my dog. I was like, okay.
R- Yeah, because that could have definitely been bad.
Oh yeah. But it was a sweet pig. Even the other pig that I met going on a hike was somebody's pig in that neighborhood because he was super friendly.
Oh yeah. You're
Yeah.
like, no, you
He was,
got to stay here.
yeah. He was just wandering the street and somebody was like, oh, he's out again. Like, it was just
Oh
wild.
man,
He's a sweet boy.
that's funny. And so now, obviously, over in Japan, your husband's he doesn't have to travel as much now, or is he home all the time?
No, he's pretty much home all the time. Thankfully, we're here. The job that he's in, he doesn't get deployed.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yeah.
well that's good. That way you have a little bit of help with your boy.
Yes, yes, thank God. Well, and thankfully, the military, at least the Air Force, has changed their parental leave. So,
Oh,
where it
okay.
used to be like 6 weeks, like now he actually, or it might not even have been 6 weeks. It was a couple weeks before, and now he actually gets 12 weeks. So he got a whole 3 months
Oh,
to like
nice.
be with our kid right after he was born and like bond with him. So that was really nice.
I bet. I bet
Yeah.
he cherished that time.
Oh, he did. He loved it. And I mean, it was rough on both of us because I had to get a C section. And then, like a month after I had my son, I had to go in for another surgery. So,
Oh, that's not good.
yeah.
So, out of curiosity, because
Hmm.
obviously nobody knows, but you're smaller in stature.
Yeah.
How was the pregnancy with that?
It was good. I mean, I definitely had like the normal like nausea, things like that. Like
Right.
the beginning of the pregnancy was rough, and the ending was rough just because he was so big and I'm so small that like my big
Right.
belly looked even bigger. But overall, like it went really well. I had to
Oh,
get an
nice.
emergency C-section just because I got stuck at a point that I couldn't get past.
Right.
But he came out okay. I'm healthy, so it all worked out.
Nice.
He was just heavy.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine. How big was he when he was born?
So he wasn't that big, but for me, it felt like a lot. He was
Right.
7 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, because I know how tiny you are. I know that's
Oh yeah.
pretty big.
I'm not even 5 foot.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked if to see if there was any complications or anything with it. Because,
No,
like
I
I said,
think
you're smaller than average.
Yes, it's true. Over here, though, not so much. Over here, I'm normal height, baby.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's great. I love it.
They're like, oh my god, I feel at home.
Like, yeah, when somebody walks past me and they're shorter than me, I'm like, yes.
That's funny. Is it really like that? Are they really short over there?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're still like taller people,
Well, right,
obviously.
right.
But like, yeah, the typical height is probably like maybe like 5'6" or something like that. So like the guys and girls over here are like smaller stature. Not super
Huh.
tiny, but I don't know about the guys. The guys might be more normal height, but
Right.
I still enjoy
As
it.
long as
It's still
there's
nice.
as long as there's some people around
Yeah, some people that are
that aren't
shorter than you, I
towering
need
over
that.
you.
It's
Oh
nice.
man. I bet. Oh man. So what else you want to talk about? Because we got time. If your baby's sleeping, at least
Yeah, let me go run and check on him. I think he's good, but let me go check real quick.
you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, my man is out. We're good.
Yeah, it's those teething. I'm telling you, as soon as he starts teething, when they go down, they go down.
Yeah. Well, I
It's like
think it
it wears
helps
them
too.
out.
I think it does. I mean, I get it. It's a lot of pain, you know? So
Yeah,
being a
yeah.
tiny
Yeah,
human
I
is
can't
hard.
even imagine. Right. Um. So what else interesting have you done in your life besides Japan and Hawaii?
Um, that's a big
You're like
question,
nothing.
Neil. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, man. I've done a lot of stupid things. Does that count?
That's all right. It
Um,
might.
um, that's a big question, dude. I feel like I probably have done some interesting things, but to me, they don't seem that interesting just because,
Like what?
it's
Say
my life.
something that may not be interesting.
Like I worked at Yellowstone National Park for a bit. That was cool.
Doing what?
Just I was just a busser.
Oh, okay.
So like
A
yeah, so like I
restaurant up
worked in a
there.
restaurant. Yeah. But like it was really cool. It was honestly really cool working there. I just did it over the summer and I'll never do it again. But well, cuz like the company that like runs all of those, oh,
Yeah. Is it awful?
I think he's waking up.
Oh,
Yeah, they just are not the greatest people and they don't pay very well and like you have to pay for your dorming, like your housing, and it takes so much out of your paycheck that it's like you really just don't make like any money.
you had to live in Yellowstone to work as a busser?
Yeah, so I worked in Crater Village, which is have you ever seen like that picture of Yellowstone where like there's that big waterfall and there's usually like a rainbow above it?
Probably.
So that's the village where I worked in. Because like
Okay.
Yellowstone is huge, so it's got different like areas that you can like stay and visit.
Right.
And I worked in Crater Village, and so like to work there, you had to stay in the dorms there, but you had to pay for it.
Oh,
So
that's weird.
yeah. But the cool thing is we got to explore the park at night when, because like, it gets closed at a certain point.
Right.
And so like, your young 20s wandering around a national park drunk. Like it was pretty fun.
Yep. I'm sure that was super safe as well.
Oh, it was so safe. It was so
Yeah.
safe. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
We
No
definitely
bison, no bison chasing you down, or
okay.
serial killers hiding in the woods.
Well, okay. Didn't think about the serial killer part when I was there.
Right.
But
Right.
like the bison for the most part, as long as you didn't mess with them, they wouldn't mess with you. So like,
Okay.
I mean, they're big and they are intimidating creatures. Don't get me wrong, but for the most part, they're pretty chill as long as you don't fuck with them or like get around their young. Like you're good. So like we
Yeah,
would
like
definitely
those
run
people
into a
in the
couple and
videos.
just be like, "Oh yeah, they're fucking idiots." The stories you would hear from the rangers, oh my god. Like people are just not smart. Like for the most part, if you're with a group of people, most animals are going to leave you alone because
Right.
they don't want anything to do with you, you know? But like I had a lady ask me about the wolves, you know, And I was like, yeah, you can. I know there's a tour. You can go and see them. They usually have binoculars, or I recommend you bring your own.
Right.
But I know there's a tour that you can go on where you have a high chance of seeing them. And she was so offended. She's like, what? I can't just drive and see them? I'm like, no, this isn't a fucking zoo. Like, they
You're
live
like,
here, and wolves are
well,
elusive.
you could, but they might eat you,
Yeah.
so
Like,
have fun.
it's like someone going after, like, a baby bear. Like, do not go towards that baby bear. Mama bear will rip you apart.
Oh, people don't care.
No, they're so dumb. Or like people trying to go into geysers. I'm like, you realize how hot that water is? Like, you're gonna melt your face off, literally.
That's just that's just natural selection at that point.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. There
Just
was a
let them go
chick.
swim.
Oh my god. No, that's why there's fences there.
Yep, I know.
Yeah. I will say, like, working in the park was really cool, but it also really, really showcased the stupidity of humanity sometimes.
I can imagine. I mean, you know, I I'm pretty sure a national park and Waffle House both show the same kind of thing. Nothing against Waffle House, mind you. I love Waffle House. So
Yeah. I've never been in a Waffle House on purpose,
no,
though. No.
Well,
I'm sure
you're
I'm
missing
sure
out.
it's great. My husband loves it, but
It's fantastic.
yeah, I don't know. Something about it just
You're eating shredded catfish or cat food over in Japan and knocking Waffle House. So that's invalid right there. I'm just gonna throw that out.
okay, that's a valid point. That's a valid point.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So with your, not to bring down the mood or anything, but like with your parents' divorce, did your relationship with them stay good, both of them?
So
If you don't want
my
to talk
mom.
about that, it's fine.
No, it's fine. That's just a big question. But
Yep.
like with my mom, it did because she raised me, and my mom and I have always been very close, so
Okay.
that was easy. I think the difficult thing is that I felt like my dad wasn't there as much, but I think it's just because I didn't see him at those events. But like I would have like dance recitals or big shows or like whatever, and he wouldn't be
Right.
there. But it also doesn't help that he got remarried a year after the divorce, the day after my birthday.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And his new wife has had three kids of her own at that time.
Oh,
So like, and don't get me wrong, I adore her. I love her. She is a very sweet woman. But like, my parents just got divorced, and then I feel like my dad just got remarried so suddenly. As a kid, it was
right.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So it was a big adjustment. So,
Was there resentment towards your dad for that?
oh, for sure. Yeah, I think when I was
Yeah.
younger, there absolutely was. As an adult now, I don't really care. But
Right.
as a kid, it was just like the day after my birthday. It was like, what the fuck?
So as a kid, up until you kind of came to terms with it, did it did it put a strain on you and your dad's relationship? Where
I think
or
I think it did just because when I was younger, I was always like a daddy's girl,
right?
and so
Most girls are.
yeah, and like he still tried to like keep that relationship with me, and we didn't have a bad relationship by any means. We just weren't as close, but it was
Right.
also hard because when I would come over, because my dad didn't see me all the time, I think he would unintentionally treat me better or like try to,
Oh,
like
okay.
buy me an extra donut or things like that. So the kids felt
Yep.
that like he was favoring me. So then it was hard with the kids because like they felt like he was treating me better than he would them, and it was a whole dynamic for a long time.
Are you the only one from your mom and dad?
No, I have a brother.
Oh,
So my
okay.
brother, yeah, an older brother.
Was he the same way with your dad? Like, did he go over? Did he kind of get spoiled or no?
No, because he was older.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was like, so if I was 12, he was like 19, 18, 19 when they got
Oh, okay.
divorced.
So it was quite a bit.
Yeah. So he's like 6 or 7 years older than me. So it didn't affect him as much because he had his own car, all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
he could do his own thing.
He's like, whatever. I'm out.
Yeah. So they still get along really well. So
So with the other three kids, was that did you develop a bond with them eventually or not really?
eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
So we all got along and like we grew closer as we got older. But the oldest sister, she had a kid when she was 16, and so like that kind of changed the dynamic. And then my little sister also had a kid when she was 16, but
Oh,
her and I, yeah, but her and I ended up becoming closer as we became older. So like
oh,
now,
nice.
her and I are very close, and me and the older sister don't really talk.
Oh,
So yeah, I love her. Don't get me wrong. She's just had a lot going on in her life, and I don't. I'm trying to think of like the nice way to say this. Like she just had a lot going on in her life, and I did not want to be a part of it. So I definitely stepped back as much as possible.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, that does happen. So, I mean,
Yeah.
at least you got a bond with them. I know, when you kind of go into that situation, it's not always an easy thing to find a connection with.
Yeah, no, 100%. But
So,
I mean, I don't know. I think when we got older is when it really started to like happen more,
right.
because we weren't like in the midst of like, growing up.
Are they around the same age as you then, or no?
The oldest is.
Oh, okay.
So, and then I have a younger brother, and then the youngest is my little sister, and she's, oh man, 26, 27. I want to
Okay.
say probably 26. I'm terrible with remembering everyone's ages.
That's all right. Don't feel bad. So my ages
Even
and
my own.
birthdays.
Yeah, I have calendar reminders for everything.
Oh, see, I have my wife.
That's fair. That works.
She's
I
like,
mean,
it's
same
so
thing.
and so's birthday. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's nice, dear. Did we send a card?
Yeah. Did you tell him on Facebook? Okay, I'm good then.
Facebook helps so much. My goodness.
Uh, yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't know anything. I'd be like, oh,
Yep. I have a little
I have no
perpetual
clue.
calendar that I've written down because otherwise I will forget. So I have that up and I'm like, all right, need to send up birthday cards to these people. Wish these people happy birthday here. Like,
So I need to ask because your son's name is Apollo, right?
yeah.
Why did you pick Apollo?
So it kind of just came about. So, like, my husband and I are very nerdy and we both love
Okay.
space. And so we were trying to find something that was like a different name, but not something that was so out there that was like hard to pronounce or write
Right.
or things like that. And we went through so many names. And then he finally one night said Apollo. And both of us were like, oh, I like that. I like that a lot. And then it just became about finding a middle name to go with it. Because, like, before
Right.
he was looking at like Lord of the Rings names. So he was looking
Oh,
at like Baron, Theoden, and things like that. And I was trying to like find cool sounding names like that. But it was like those were so hard to pronounce and write that it was just like, let's find something that's a little bit easier, you know?
right. Yeah.
And then
Those would
eventually,
definitely be difficult for a little kid.
yes. Well, especially like in like elementary school, like, I mean, Theo, like Theoden, you could do
Yeah.
Theo.
You can
But like
shorten it,
Baron,
right?
yeah, I mean, Bear, I guess, but still.
Maybe. Maybe.
So,
That
but
was
yeah.
kind of iffy.
Yeah. I don't know. I have an Uncle Bear. We call him Uncle Bear. It's not his name, but
Oh,
we
I
call
was
him Uncle
like,
Bear.
I was like, that is not his name.
No, it's not his real name.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's funny.
But
So, any other interesting stories or tidbits that you have?
not that I can think of off the top of my head, but my son is also waking up, so
I
it's
heard him.
part of
I
it.
heard him in
Yeah,
the
can you
background.
hear him?
Yep,
He's
I
like,
heard. I heard the
yeah.
cooing or whatever he's doing back there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's just chilling right now, but he
No, that
sometimes when he wakes up, he just hangs out, and it's nice.
it is. So, like I said, our grandson is almost a year, and he's not talking yet, but He's screaming.
Oh, yep.
That's
Pterodactyl
what he likes
gaze.
to do. Yeah, he just likes to scream. So it's
Yep.
like, all right. I'm like, here, you can go home.
Take my earplugs out now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you get to him. That way he doesn't get fussy. But I really appreciate you doing this with me. And it was great catching up with you.
Yeah, it was fun talking to you. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah, a while. I know. A couple years at least.
Just a few. Yeah,
Yeah, just a few. So, but yeah, we'll keep in touch. And
Yeah, for sure.
um, again, thank you so much for doing this. Okay.
Oh, thanks for the invite. It was a lot of fun talking to you, Neil. You're very easy to
All
talk
right.
to.
Sometimes.
Yeah, unless you're my boss, and then no.
Right. All right. We'll talk to you later on.
All right. Have a good rest of
All
your
right.
day.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you guys again for joining me for this episode. Amanda is a fantastic person. Lights up anyone that's around her, to be perfectly honest. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen. Give us a follow on the socials, Sticko Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X. We're on Threads. We're on Blue Sky, Snapchat, YouTube, all those fun places that you can converse with me with if you feel like it. If you ever feel like being on the show, go ahead and send me a message. I always need people. I don't think that'll ever not be a necessity. So until next week, be safe. Don't be a stranger.